out there, it's me, Brianna, and you are listening to Are We Caught Up Yet? Marvel Edition. You can find us on youtube.com/Save the Game Media and podcast services. If you do want to show Save the Game Media some extra love and get early access to all of our content, you can find us at patreon.com/Save the Game Media. Today I am joined by my co-host and friend, Sam. Before we get started, how are you today and what have you been watching?
I'm pretty good, pretty sleep deprived, which is not that different than normal. It's been a while since we've done one of these.
Yeah, it's been like a month.
Yeah. I'm good though, very busy, doing stuff that I can't talk about. But yeah, no, I said on No Limits that I'm just glad to be back in the swing of things. I thought I was going to have essentially nothing to do over the holidays, which would have been fine, but I would prefer to be still making decent amounts of money leading up to and then through the holidays. And now that is the case, which I'm very grateful for, as I said on No Limits, even if that means I will have very little free time. But that's typically how I like it. So yeah, all good. What have I been watching? Again, it's been a long time, so I'm gonna have to think.
Yeah, what have you been watching for the past month?
I am watching Shrinking on Apple TV.
Really?
Yeah. Well,
I
I'm a
know
big
how
Jason
much you don't like Apple TV shows.
Well, no, that's wrong. There's just one that's far inferior to the rest, because Severance is great and Silo is also great, and Shrinking is great. So they have a set, like a 75% batting average, I guess. Yeah, I'm a big Jason Segel fan. I mean, primarily from How I Met Your Mother, but other things as well. And again, you can't go wrong with Harrison Ford. So, put them together in a comedy about therapists, and it's pretty good. I finished watching The Penguin, which is an excellent TV show. Obviously, only if you really care or have seen the Batman film with Robert Pattinson. Otherwise, it wouldn't. I mean, I think it's standalone enough where you can fully understand what's going on. But obviously, it's one of those things that's enhanced and building on in the same way you could technically watch something like Moon Knight, right?
Mm.
You could watch Moon Knight on its own because it's just a self-contained thing. But it helps if you've seen other stuff before that, even if it doesn't have tons of references, which The Penguin doesn't either. But just, the world, and you pick up on other things.
Hold on.
These things happen. It's okay. The noises. There's stuff that I need to start watching, which I haven't yet. Like there's a new Dune series. I think it's called Dune Prophecy, based
Yes,
on
that sounds right.
expanding the films from Denis Villeneuve, which I adore. So I will be watching that. Not the best reviews from what I've seen.
Historically, no one's seen the films.
That's just not true. I haven't heard the best things about it, but it's sort of one of those things where I'm invested in the story that they're telling enough, even though this is a super, super far back prequel. I just want to get as much of this lore and this universe as I can. Second season of Silo has just started on Apple TV as well, which I haven't gone to yet, but the first series is excellent.
I have no concept about what that show's about, if I were to be honest with you.
Imagine like Fallout,
Okay.
where it's just like entirely set in a vault.
Okay.
And it's, instead of in Fallout it actually being like a nuclear apocalypse outside, and that's the reason that they're in the vault. The reason that they're in the vault and what is outside is in question because nobody knows.
They just know they're supposed to stay in.
Well, that's what they're told to do. And the core conceit, without spoiling anything, is that the show kicks off with what we think is the main character of the entire series going through something and experiencing something, and sort of picks up on a few breadcrumbs and starts debating what's going on. And then at the end of mild spoilers, but this is just the core conceit of the show. At the end of the first episode, this character says, I want to go outside. And in this society, in this silo that they're in, that's like a death sentence, sort of like they'll let you go outside, but once you go outside, you can't come back in. And you'll have no communication with anyone. So like, if you want to go out there, you can. You're told that there is death out there, but is it death out there? So it's a lot of intrigue and mystery, and then people in the silo start asking questions and picking back on the history of where did the silo come from, what was it made for, it's very good, very, very good. And yeah, so I haven't started watching the second season yet, but I'm super excited to do that. The only other thing I've watched, which isn't really a show necessarily, but I've actually been meaning to talk about this on the past couple of No Limits, but I keep forgetting to. I finally got around to, probably a month ago at this point, watching Psychodyssey, which, for people who don't know, is a free on YouTube to watch, essentially, for all intents and purposes, 22-hour long documentary on how Double Fine made Psychonauts 2. It chronicles several years very intimately at that studio, from conception of the project, pre-production and coming up with ideas, and then the entire way through development up to release. And they go through game directors and struggling to come up with ideas for the game, and then they come up to losing their publisher, and then they get bought by Microsoft, and then they experience COVID and the lockdown, and then they ship the game. It's excellent, truly, truly excellent. I'm actually already considering rewatching it, because I think it's just so interesting to have that kind of, again, like intimate perspective and viewpoint into the lives of all of the developers at Double Fine, and get very candid interviews from each and every one of them at the time that they're going through each specific things, and all the drama and the arguments and stuff. Have you seen it?
There are I have not. There are gaming documentaries, but I feel like it's rare to get like that kind of deep inside look.
Yeah, because you have like
process,
you have like Raising Kratos for God of War 2018, which is excellent.
Grounded.
You have Grounded for both Last of Us 1 and Last of Us 2. Again, also excellent. But yeah, like again, 22-hour long thing like that dwarfs both of those and any other documentary, as far as I know, based around making games. It's really interesting. Not that I adore Double Fine necessarily, but I think after watching the documentary, I have a deeper appreciation for them, for Tim Schafer, and I think just like, it sounds cliche, but like just game development in general. Like, I knew the work that went into making games. I knew that, but to watch it unfold in a very sort of visceral way, because it's a tough watch at times, some of the stuff that happens. But no, I highly encourage it. It's on YouTube in separate segmented videos. Videos range from like 20 to 40 minutes. Some of them are, I think, an hour. So you can sort of do an episode an evening if you're interested in watching it, which I do highly encourage. So yes, shout out to Psychodyssey. Excellent content.
Okay, that sounds really cool. I'll probably check that out. I think Double Fine.
I think if you like Double Fine especially, but you being interested in the game dev side of things in terms of writing and stuff, it'll be right up your alley for sure.
Okay, for sure. I'll have to carve out some time for it.
Yep.
Anything else you've been watching?
I don't think so, because I mean, I said that if I remember correctly, Agatha had already finished by the time we did the last one.
Mm-mm.
Okay, well,
It
it
hadn't.
finished and I watched it, so but I obviously can't speak on that.
I'm
yet.
incredibly jealous that you've been watching it. One of my friends from my Japanese class, he keeps telling me, he's like, just watch it. I'm like, no, you don't understand. I can't. Like, I'm trying to wait until it's
Realistically,
time.
we're much closer than you think.
That's crazy because then it means we'll be done.
Yeah, like we're at the
And then
end
we'll
of
never talk again.
2022 right now. Right, the stuff we're on
Mhm.
right now, end of 2022, and 2023 and 2024, comparatively light years for Marvel. So there's still a fair number of projects, and we've got a few like tangential things to do as well that aren't core but then get roped in. But even then, I think we're closer than we might think to being caught up.
And so many decisions have to happen. Namely, if I ever want to talk to you again.
Most people don't. So I get it.
You're like, yeah, I get it.
Yeah.
Okay, well, let's see. Oh, me. What have I been watching? Nothing. No, I'm just kidding. I went to the movies.
Watching the world burn.
Yeah, no,
on every single front.
That's exactly what I've been watching. To be honest with you, mostly what I've been watching is anime.
Bleh. Bleh.
I will call out Don to Don if you are
Say
not
what you want.
watching
I'm only
Don.
pulling your leg. You know, I'm just messing about.
I know.
Say what you want.
I'm going to.
All right.
I'm going to say what I want. Sam, I can't handle you sometimes. Please, if you even kind of like anime, if you like even a single anime, I think you should watch Don to Don. It is so incredible. I love the story so much. It's really good. It's airing. I live for the episode every week. Please go watch it. I'm watching a bunch of other seasonal stuff that I won't get into since there's a whole podcast for me to talk about anime. But I will also talk about Ghost Cat Anzu. I went to that in the theaters yesterday. There's just a limited release for this movie. It was really good. If you like slower, like kind of slice of lifey kind of things, it's about this like basically human-sized cat that's like watching over this younger girl to like help her out while her dad is on the run from loan sharks. And yeah, it was a really bizarre movie. And it was good. It's good. Let's see, what else have I been up to? I feel like I really have just been watching anime. I will be, whenever you guys are hearing this, it'll probably be in like 2 or 3 days from when this is like being recorded. If you listen to this and you go, "Hey, I remember hearing this," please send me your recommendations for holiday films. It doesn't have to be like a specific holiday necessarily. It doesn't necessarily have to be romance. I'm just interested in watching holiday films. Let me know if you're hearing this and you have recommendations. Please. I've been watching What We Do in the Shadows, but I'm really far behind. I know that show's now ended, so I got to catch up on that. You watch that show?
The first 2 seasons, I think, but I fell off a bit after that. Not because it was necessarily bad, just it's one of those things, where enough time passed and I just haven't gone back to it.
Yeah,
I could be though, because I love What We Do in the Shadows, just generally speaking. So
God, I love the one actor. What's his name? Harvey, whatever. What is his name?
Couldn't tell you.
Harvey Guillen? He plays Guillermo.
Yeah, I know who you mean. I just wouldn't be able to tell you the actor's name.
Yeah, no, I was just saying it for the people because I can't pronounce his last name because I'm silly. But I really like him.
Yeah.
I mean, I love all of the actors, but I just he really cracks me up.
Yeah.
Those are words that I've said, and yeah, I don't think I did watch Inside Out too. Have you seen that one yet?
No.
Okay, good talk. One last question for you here before we get started, just because I saw another preview for it last night, and I'm curious. Are you going to be watching Riders of Rohirrim?
I mean, you just reminded me that thing exists.
You're welcome.
Probably not. Probably not. I mean, I'll see how it reviews, and if it reviews super well, that might influence my opinion. But I can't say, which sounds crazy to say out loud, but like, it's just something that doesn't really excite me all that much. Not that I've been following it super closely, but
I'm excited.
so yeah,
about
if everyone's saying like this is excellent, then I probably will. But outside of that, I'll probably be like, I might get to it eventually, but I'm not really. I don't really care.
Okay. We also have Wicked and Moana too.
Oh yes, day one, sister.
For both of
Yeah,
them,
yeah,
double
yeah, both of
feature.
them. Yeah, back to back. Yeah.
I can't tell if you're being serious or sarcastic.
You probably couldn't pay me to go and see Wicked in cinemas. And Moana 2 is probably something I will watch eventually because the first film was great, but I will probably watch it when it is on Disney Plus.
I will say I'm a little bit scared to go to Wicked in theaters. I'm scared of everybody singing during the movie.
Yeah. Yeah.
Do you just not like Wicked?
I think it's fine. I think it's overhyped. In the same way that Hamilton is. Of like, it's a good musical. But I can't say I care for it in the slightest. It's just sort of like I saw it on on the West End in London, and I was like, yeah, that was good. It was good. I can't say it's the best thing
So
I've
what I'm
ever
hearing
seen.
is you don't like joy, happiness.
Yeah, that's right.
I shouldn't be
That's
surprised
right.
at this point.
Yeah.
Okay, well, that was all I had. So let's get started. So just to break everything down for you guys, we're going to be doing a little section on Werewolf by Night, and then a little section on the Guardians Holiday Special. They are not related to each other beyond the fact that they're both Marvel and they're both specials. So if you didn't watch Werewolf by Night, you're welcome to skip. My guess is we'll probably talk about it for 20 to 30 minutes. So you can jump if you want. Or you can hang out with us and not watch the Guardians Holiday Special, or you can watch both sections. Or maybe you just wanted to hear us talk about what we were talking or what we were watching, in which case, bye. Yeah. All right. Firstly, we have general thoughts on Werewolf by Night. I do want to point out, just because it seems to be mildly important, although I'm not quite sure why, but I did watch it in black and white. It seemed like the more interesting version, since a lot of stuff just isn't done in black and white now. So yeah, that's what I watched it in. And I enjoyed it. I thought it was cheesy, but like in a good, like old Halloween movie kind of way, which is clearly what they're intending. Um, I had a really good time. I thought it was like a good little like 45 minutes or whatever it was in and out, and worthwhile story. I'm curious if it ties into anything else later on, with like the bloodstone and stuff. But yeah, it was good. Sam, general thoughts?
Um, yeah, I think it's pretty excellent for what it is. Um, it I think it set a very exciting precedent, um, whereby kind of like riding off the coattails of something like, well, I guess actually really most of the Disney Plus shows in one way or another. WandaVision did something very interesting and different, as did Loki, as did something like Moon Knight. And this is like that kind of experimentation within a Disney Plus series boiled down to like its core, stripping all the fat and just doing something interesting and experimental in a one-off,
Mm-hmm.
done within an hour. And I think that that's exciting. Um, it's nice supplementary content for Disney Plus on a business front, but it also means that you can kind of cover a lot of ground far more quickly than trying to do, feature films about these specific characters or full-on series about these characters. It's a very good way to sort of springboard and hit the ground running with new ideas, new story elements, new characters that can then be fully implemented in a show or in a movie going forwards. And I think that Werewolf by Night is probably like the best way they could have proven that concept out.
Mm-hmm.
Like it's completely different from everything they've done before in almost every way. Um, tonally, stylistically, presentation wise. Yeah, it feels, I guess, to boil down my own thoughts, it feels like the most comic book thing that they've done. Like it just feels like an issue of a comic book where it is just you're flicking through the pages and it's like quite short and you're getting just a little bite-sized story that's telling you this is the story of Werewolf by Night. Um, and yeah, I think it's great. I love all the actors in it. I'm glad that they've been brought into the MCU. I think the characters have a lot of potential. I like the MCU leaning into horror a little bit more. That's fun. Yeah, great things. Also, I will point out,
Mm-hmm.
directed by Michael Giacchino. Michael Giacchino, his first ever directorial work, because Michael Giacchino
Isn't he
is
a composer?
a composer
Yeah.
who did music for. You throw a dart at a pinboard full of recent things in the last decade and a half, he's probably done it. He did Up. He did some of the
Incredibles.
Jurassic Park films. He's done Star Wars. He's done Batman. He's done plenty of MCU stuff prior to this, including Spider-Man, Doctor Strange. I think he did some Thor stuff. He's done some video game things.
Up,
He's very prolific,
Ratatouille,
and
Incredibles, and Coco are the ones for me.
which I mean, that's a strong body of work right there.
Yeah.
And
Although
here
The
he is coming
Incredibles
out with
is a mediocre movie.
and that wraps it up for this week, ladies and gentlemen.
Dude, okay, I Google searched his name, by the way, just because I was like, this is the composer, right? Anyways, first on the people also ask is how much does it cost to hire him? like,
I mean, yeah, why wouldn't you want to hire him at this point?
an example fee to book him is in the starting range of 75 to 150,000. That seems really,
Sounds
really low. That's like
yeah.
a half a song.
what a generous guy. Yeah, I think it's just a really strong first outing for Marvel in terms of their special presentations. I think it's a very strong first outing for these characters, for the ideas that they bring.
For
I
the
think it's a
directorial
really strong
debut.
first outing for Giacchino as a director.
Mhm.
Yeah, no real negatives. I just want
No,
more
no.
of it, to be honest. Give me more of it.
What would they
I would have
do?
loved this if this was, you know, a limited series. Like if they extended this out to a limited series and it was like 4 or 5 episodes chronicling these stories of monsters and ghouls and ghosts and all of this
I
stuff.
think
That
I
would have been,
honestly would have been okay with like even if they had done like 3 episodes, you know? Like
yeah,
even if it
that's what,
was
yeah.
like even if it was just like, hey, we're getting in and out. But I understand like doing one just like a like concept show kind of thing.
It's a proof of concept thing.
Yeah, absolutely.
Where they can just spend a very little amount of money to make something cool and interesting, and if it hits with the audience on Disney Plus, they can capitalize on it. Hopefully,
Absolutely.
that's the idea, anyway.
So I have a lot of questions. First thing that comes to mind, Ted, named after your dog.
Of
That was
course.
crazy. I couldn't believe that they stole Ted's name.
Mm-hmm.
How did Ted feel about that when that first came out?
Rough.
That was silly. That was rough. um okay. So basically we are introduced to this family. I don't think we're given the last name of the family. We're just given the first name of the dad.
No, it's the Bloodstone.
Oh,
Bloodstone.
their last name is Bloodstones?
Yeah.
That's okay. Well, there we go. We're introduced to the family. We're given the concept of like, hey, we're gonna hunt for this monster. You get the bloodstone. You get to be the head of the family. Yeah, and then they just like kind of take off. And I feel like not too much happens because it's so short, but basically they fight a lot, they kill each other. We find out that the main guy is friends with the other monster because he is actually a monster. He's a werewolf. Um he sniffs the main character a lot if anybody enjoys that. The other main character. And they make it out okay. Do we see these people again? Where are they from? And what is the bloodstone? Does this come back?
Are these questions for me or?
Yes.
So you're gonna have to ask them again.
Okay.
One at a time, please.
Firstly, are these characters from something? Like, or is this just an original concept TV show?
No. The Werewolf by Night, Elsa Bloodstone, they're all, yeah. Ted, they're all characters from the comics.
Okay. Okay. Do we see these people again? Like, are they setting them up for something, or was it just like a fun little thing?
Up to present day, we have not seen any of them again.
Okay.
But we will see them again.
Okay. Is the bloodstone important for future stuff, or is it just her personal powers?
TBD.
Okay.
I think it can be used as a MacGuffin in future, because again, you would imagine that this was prefaced as the springboard for what will be like the supernatural horror-y kind of corner of the MCU going forwards, with something like Blade, right? Like that's dealing with like vampires and things like that. So I could see stuff like this being roped in with that. And there is technically a team where most of these characters show up as part of the roster, which we don't know is happening as a project yet, but a lot of them have been introduced. So I have to imagine at some point they'll do something with that team, which I'm very excited about because it's probably my favorite team from Marvel Comics. A somewhat popular video game was made about them not that long ago, a couple of years ago. Yeah, so I think the Bloodstone is probably just going to be used there. I don't think it's going to have any like massive relevance outside of this sort of spooky corner of Marvel, but I could be wrong. People have
Okay.
speculated it could be like a fragment of the Reality Stone, Infinity Stone, because it's red and it sort of alters the reality, the corporeal form of Jack Russell. But I'm not sure I buy that. I think it's just like a coincidence that it's a red stone because it is a red stone in the comics as well. So,
That
but
makes sense.
the MCU do weird stuff. They like things being interconnected, so they might retcon it and change it for their films that it is actually a part of the Reality Stone, which I wouldn't have a problem with. But yeah, TBD. There's nothing known yet about what they're going to do with any of this. So
Okay, cool. Any other fun facts that you want to throw out about casting, design, filming, anything like that? I feel like I honestly don't have too much else to say about this. So
yeah, I mean, I do just hope that we see more of most of these characters sooner rather than later, because again, I like the horror-y stuff. I like the slightly grittier, darker stuff, and there have been misfires like Doctor Strange, Multiverse of Madness, and I like what they did here, and with not to go into spoilers or anything, but like now that Deadpool is officially part of the MCU, Deadpool and Wolverine came out, and that's an R-rated film that is in the MCU. So I think like the barriers have kind of been broken down with this and then Deadpool. This isn't R-rated, obviously, but the window has been open now where I would love to see not necessarily what a specifically R-rated, but a more mature film with these kind of horror adjacent characters could look like. I think that would be really dope. And like, it's not spoiling anything, but like, you've heard of the Midnight Suns, like a game came
yes,
out about the Midnight Suns.
yes.
Like Werewolf by Night traditionally is on some iterations of that team. So is Man Thing, which is the official comic book name for Ted. Very well-known character. Like Moon Knight is on the Midnight Suns. Blade is on the Midnight Suns. Sometimes Doctor Strange is on the Midnight Suns. Ghost Rider, although we haven't seen Ghost Rider yet.
Wasn't there a Ghost Rider movie forever ago? Not that it's part of the MCU. Yeah.
With Nicolas Cage, yeah.
Yeah.
Which is a gosh darn shame that we haven't got either Nicolas Cage back, because that would be funny, or a new version of Ghost Rider for the MCU. But yeah, well, I really hope that, because this was received very well, this special. And it's a shame we haven't heard anything, like any movement on stuff involving this since. But I can't imagine that they aren't planning on doing something. Even if, worst case scenario, they have to retcon they have to not retcon, rework the Blade movie that's been in like development hell for the past 5 years with Mahershala Ali. Do that, retcon it to be, it can still be a Blade like focused movie as the main character, kind of like Captain America Civil War, right, where it's still a Captain America film, but you integrate all of these other characters, and by the end of the film you have the team Midnight Suns.
Just let Ted hang out,
he's just vibing,
Yeah,
He,
it's
he's
really
he's
cute.
he's doing the coffee press for Jack at the end. He's playing
Hmm.
solitaire. You
That
know,
was really cute. I really like his character.
yeah,
He's
like
cute.
he's very expressive for a character that actually can't speak at all. He's in that kind of like Groot sphere.
Hmm.
Um, far less cute than Groot, I would say, but he's got that vibe to him of he would be like the brute that is mostly non-verbal of the team,
Mm.
and he could be very comedic as a result, but still a big threat. I will also say, for what was a very low budget thing to produce, uh, when it did go to color at the end, and you saw Ted,
Hmm.
it went from a CGI thing to a practical thing, and he looked excellent.
I think he looked really good. Yeah,
Like
handsome
you
guy.
could have fooled me that that was just a real thing of, within you know what I mean. um so very well done, and I would hope that if they hope, I'm not going to say that, I'm going to will it into existence when uh Man Thing shows up again. I hope that they do stick with that and go with a mostly at least practical costume, or mechanical thing. That would be really awesome.
Yeah. Um. Yeah. I don't know. I think that I enjoyed like seeing like a. It's like almost like an Eldritch horror version
Hmm.
of Groot.
Yep.
I enjoyed him a lot. I thought that he was really well written. Like you said, he was expressive without really saying anything. And like I think that the writing was done well, and that the characters around him kind of were able to express for him in a lot of ways. Um, where he's like, "I'm not saving you again," stuff like that is very fun. Um, I I assume you've watched this now both in color as well as the original black and white.
Yes.
Which do you prefer, just out of curiosity?
Black and white, for sure. I don't think it's bad in color, but I think that it was released originally just in black and white. It was shot for black and white. I think, stylistically and thematically, for what they're going for, of like a classic, 50s horror movie type thing, black and white makes sense. Um, and I also think, like, in the same way that any black and white thing does, if you translate it to color, it sounds weird to say, but it does take away some of the magic of it, because it's a very subconscious thing, and it's purely, subjective, viewer to viewer. But I at least find, when I'm watching something in black and white, even if you're seeing everything on screen presented very clearly, your mind still kind of does have to fill in some of the gaps and imagine things, because you
Mhm.
have the lack of color there. So, like, you know, Ted picks up a person and, like, burns them to a crisp. It's like, well, what does that look like actually? Is it just straight up fire? Is it some kind of like green or blue magical cosmic fire? Like, what? How does that look? And obviously, you can switch to color for this specific thing. But I think, like, especially for horror, you know, the less contextual information you have, the more effective the horror is. It's why you don't see the shark very often in Jaws. It's why the more you show a monster in a movie, or even a game, a horror game, the more
Mhm.
you're exposed to the terror, the less scary it becomes. And I think that that works as well, where if you have all of the information, color included, it does take away something. It's not like deal breaking, but there is something special to not knowing exactly what color this thing is or this thing is. It does just enhance the viewing experience as an active watcher just that little bit more, I think,
Yeah, I think
personally.
that makes sense. I'm glad that I did watch it in black and white. I think that there was like I think that we don't have a lot of this style of thing, which is kind of interesting because I feel like I know like in terms of like stuff that I've been watching, I feel like for stuff that kind of has this old TV show kind of charm, I feel like Marvel does it the
Mm.
most that I've seen, at least in recent times, where it's like you have like this in black and white. You have like I feel like even like Loki has like older vibes, right? And
Mhm.
WandaVision and stuff like that. So I think it's interesting. And I thought it was, like I said, very charming. And I do hope we get more. I would love like a monster of the week, just a little short. Um, just do some of like the monsters like that they showed in the show, like some of like the like you can do werewolves, you can do Ted, you can do whatever other monsters that they had in the background on the
Yeah.
walls and stuff. I don't know. Thought it I think that would be fun.
And
Um
it's good because they released it in October, so it's perfect for Halloween. It's like you have synergy on so many fronts, and it
mhm,
accomplishes so many things simultaneously. It again spring loads these characters fully developed, and you understand who they are and how they act and what their relationship is, so that when they do inevitably appear in another show or in a film or whatever, as long as you've seen this, you know everything you need to know. So again, you don't need the film or the show to do all of the groundwork again. We just got this nice little snippet that's very, very easily consumable. You can get a lot of work done far quicker. Um, yeah, I think it's great. Like I would love. I mean, we kind of thought that was going to be the precedent set with this, where like every Halloween we'd get like not necessarily a specifically Werewolf by Night type thing, but
mhm.
just a more spooky horror themed character. So we were like, next year, are we going to get like a Ghost Rider special? Or are we going to get a blah 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 or a blah blah blah? And we didn't. But I think that we could reach a point in the not too distant future where we do get that a lot. And I'm here for it. So
Okay. Well, good chat. We'll go ahead and switch over to the other one. Before we do so, do you want to rank this one?
oh god, I didn't even think about that. The rain check.
Brain check for when? The end of the episode?
Yeah.
Okay. Okay. Um all right, next we'll talk about the Guardians holiday special then. Um so we have a cute little special where um the Guardians want to uh save Christmas for one Star Lord. And that's basically the plot of the whole thing.
Hmm.
um First off, general thoughts. I thought it was a really cute little special. I thought that it had some really fun, silly music. It's always lovely seeing Groot, and yeah, I had a good time. Just, just fun time, I guess. What are your general thoughts?
Yeah, I think it, at least in my opinion, it pales in comparison to Werewolf by Night, but for what it is and for it releasing around Christmas um, that year, and also I guess coincidentally watching it close to Christmas as well, almost 2 years to the date actually since it came out. We're only a week or so off of, actually exactly a week off of when it came out 2 years ago. Um, yeah, it's just like you say, it's just a bit of fun, I think, which it didn't really accomplish anything that Werewolf by Night did. Um, so it's again far more inconsequential. It doesn't really introduce any new characters of substance, outside of just throwaway random people, and it doesn't progress the story in any meaningful way. It's just like a wacky sort of side adventure thing. This, I guess, in some ways, why I might feel not necessarily negative, but just a bit more down on it. It kind of does feel overly superfluous in the fact of like, does this need to exist? Like, not really. You know, there's a couple of nice little, reveals, character reveals, and character interactions and stuff, and it in many ways sets the stage for Guardians 3. Of just like, where everybody's at and how they're doing and how they're feeling and stuff like that. But but it at the end of the day, it's something that you can't take too seriously and therefore shouldn't. And you just sort of go along for the ride and have a laugh or two, and that's all it was really looking to accomplish, I think. So I guess I'm just indifferent. Like it's good, but I can't rant and rave about it in the same way that I can for Werewolf by Night.
Fair enough. I mean, I still think it's a good time. It's like you said, it's like nothing serious going on. It's not like introducing any new concepts. I will say I think they still did some good stuff with it. I think that particularly the gift that Peter gives Yondu, being that first little trinket thing that he collects, I thought that was really cute. I thought that was a good like call out to like their little tradition of like doing the little collecting. I don't know. I really enjoyed that call out. I think that it speaks to them definitely paying attention to the series. Let's see. We have Kevin Bacon, of course.
As Kevin Bacon.
As Kevin Bacon. How often do you think he plays himself versus something else?
Probably more often than I'd like,
It's so funny that like he's become like such a meme, where it's like the world wouldn't exist without bacon kind of meme,
Yeah. I will. So this is slightly off topic from the Kevin Bacon thing.
No,
I
it's fine.
do want to amend one of the things I said. Technically, this does introduce Cosmo.
Yes.
So, and that
Very
is an
cute.
important character. So you'll be seeing plenty more of Cosmo. So that is something at the very least.
I really want to Cosmo the space dog. Remember. Sorry, I was just trying to see who the voice actress was.
Maria Bakalova.
Yeah. It almost sounds like, I don't know how much you have like any reference to this, but at some points the voice almost sounds like BMO from Adventure Time.
Nope.
Yeah. So there is the person who voices BMO, Nikki Yang, she did BMO and she did Lady Rainicorn from Adventure Time, and she's basically just like she's a storyboard artist and writer that like she's a South Korean woman, and so they like used her really cute voice with like her accent to like just made it just makes BMO sound like really cute. I don't know. Like BMO just sounds really cute. And so it does sound kind of like Cosmo, just in like there's like the lilt of the accent is very similar ish. So I was wondering if it was her, but it's not. That would have been too exciting for me. So can't have anything that I would be excited about,
Yeah.
Oh, the person that voices his wife is actually his wife.
Yes.
Kevin Bacon's
Yeah.
wife.
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah.
Man. I will say, like, I just because I also want to point out for like story purposes, um, Peter did not know that Mantis was his sister before this. And so
No.
that does very slightly move not necessarily an important story point, but something forward.
Yeah. 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 That's the sort of reveal I was indicating, which is nice, and it will not necessarily have. I'm not just going to say anything either way, but like it doesn't necessarily mean it's going to have a drastic impact on the story of the Guardians going forwards. But it's a nice
Right.
bit of contextual information that they will pay attention to. It's not just like an offhand comment that means nothing. How much they capitalize on it is obviously to be seen, but um, for audience, for us as viewers at least, it's a nice little. Ah,
Yeah.
they're like a space family, but a couple of them actually are real family. So
Mhm.
with a messed up
Yep.
dad,
Yeah. Real messed up dad.
yeah, which I guess Gamora and Nebula also have.
Fair.
Yeah,
Um, okay, I do have a question for you. What's up with the soundtrack?
I don't know what you're talking about.
What is up with the soundtrack for this holiday special? Christmas time is here
Hmm.
is a crazy. I don't know what Christmas is, but Christmas time is here, and then here it is Christmas time. Fairy Tale of New York,
Excellent. Yeah,
Dead by Xmas, Christmas tree is this Christmas, just like Christmas. I want an alien for Christmas. I just feel like they just tried to pull like the most bizarre Christmas references.
that's very James Gunn.
Yeah, it was really fun. I enjoyed it. I enjoyed
Yeah,
it. I don't think trying to think if there's anything else that I wanted to bring up. I think the thing with Yondu is the thing that I found really cute and not necessarily like super important because it doesn't actually necessarily matter moving forward, but I did think that it was a cute little moment. Um, I think Mantis and Drax had a good time fighting police and kidnapping people.
yeah. I mean, it made it sort of. I guess that's a good point to pick up on, like the actual like main characters of the special. It, as like a comedy thing, it makes sense to bundle those two together because
Mhm.
in different ways they are the most like immature, inept, clueless characters. So if you're looking for like a short little venture with shenanigans and tomfoolery, then you couldn't have picked two better characters. And Batista and Pom Clementieff, they sort of knock it out of the park as they always do with these characters.
I
Um,
have never seen her out of makeup.
yeah, very
She's
very
pretty.
very attractive woman.
Yeah.
Um,
I don't
yeah,
think I've
no,
seen her in
I
anything else.
I think it's a smart move as well because in the films they are not necessarily like sidelined, but they're auxiliary secondary characters, right? They're never really the front and center part of the
Mhm.
team. So for them to have this spotlight, however brief, is nice. That this is an element of the MCU focused around the Guardians that is specifically theirs, and very on theme, on brand for those two characters as well. So
Okay. Cool. Anything else that we want to talk about?
we have
Let's see.
a new upgraded version of Groot,
We do.
Groot
He's
3.0.
he's taller and buffer,
Yeah.
but I think as Kraglin says, he's still just a kid.
Yeah. He's sort of like he's in his 20s now kind of thing, like early 20s, I would say. Because
Really? I feel
we
like
had
it was late teens.
I mean, yeah, I guess. Yeah. Like an 18, 19-year-old.
Yeah.
Because last we saw he was like young teen, I suppose, wasn't he? He went from
Yeah.
baby Groot to like I'm Groot. So yeah, I guess that makes more sense. In that age range, sort of 17 to 21, 22, something like that, maybe.
Shout out to Vin Diesel
Um,
for insane voice acting,
yeah, I mean, a lot of post processing.
Yeah.
But yeah, no, fair play to him for really going for it. Yeah. Groot is just like an evergreen character, pun not
Mhm.
intended, where it's just like, you can do it is a one note thing where he just does the same thing over and over again, but it just doesn't get old. It's just like,
Yeah,
you can't not love Groot.
absolutely. I will say, I will not be happy if they try and do the same thing with Groot again. They're like, "Oh, he's an adult
In
now. Let's
terms
kill
of,
him again."
I see. Yeah.
I'll be
It's
real
just really
mad.
like back. But the baby Groot was so popular, Brie. They need a reason to bring baby Groot
Can't
back.
can't adult Groot have a baby Groot?
That is an interesting question. Could he just pick a little sapling off of his arm and like plant it and then nurture it and then another Groot? Can he self-replicate to that extent? Could he have an army of Groots if he wanted to?
This is a really good question. I think we need the answers to.
Yeah. I mean, canonically, we know that the Groot we have right now isn't the same Groot as the first film because that
Mhm.
Groot did die. So this
Yeah.
is technically Groot's son. Still Groot, but Groot's
Yeah.
son.
Yeah, so how many Groots
So
can we make?
exactly. I don't know. I'd love to see one day.
Okay. We will have to see.
What
Anything to say?
completely
Oh, go ahead.
superfluous thing. I'm just going to
Sure.
say, but funny to point out. Rocket now has Bucky's arm.
Yeah, I was a little confused by that. Like, why did they
How
have
how did
that?
how did Nebula get his arm?
And why did she have his I'm so
Why would
glad you
Bucky
brought
give
that
up
up.
his
I
arm?
was gonna bring that up, but I was like, "What?"
Yeah, I think more so than anything, it was just done as like a joke, in the fact that like in Infinity War and Endgame, he was talking about getting Bucky's arm and things like that. So I feel, I could be wrong. I feel like it was more of just like a funny, gag to put at the end of the special, of like, what would each of these characters love the most to receive as a gift? And it would make sense that, with Rocket and his history of just acquiring things that he doesn't need and taking
Taking body
artificial
parts?
limbs and stuff from people, exactly, that it would be Bucky's arm. That would be, I the I don't see how they can somehow, weave that in narratively of why Bucky would have given up his arm, or, you know, unless in some future thing we see like a cutaway scene of Bucky explaining why he has a different arm because Marvel are trying to sell a new toy of Bucky and they need to have a different arm for Bucky to make it seem different. And
I
then
think
he's
it
like,
would be
well, what
really
what happened to the other arm? It's like, well, this weird blue space woman came and just took it off me.
I
But
think it'd be really funny if he was, like, not even like, "This person took it from me," like, he was, like, asleep or I don't know, like, he doesn't know. Like, it's just, like, one
mm,
day his arm was gone, you know? And so, like, next time they talk about it, he's like, "Yeah, I don't know, my arm was stolen," or something.
yeah, Rocket's just sort of like,
Yeah.
off in the distance, saying, I don't know what you're talking about.
Like, sneaking away.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's what I need. That's what I need in my life. It's just that, like, little small moment.
Hmm.
Um, that would be very funny. Hopefully they do something with that. Um, That was actually the last thing I was going to bring up, is I feel like we didn't talk about Rocket, so that makes me feel better that we've talked about Rocket now.
Yeah.
Um, who can I ask, why did they have the Yondu stuff animated? Is there a particular reason, or just because it's
Um,
stylistic?
I don't know. I mean, you could say maybe it was a budgetary thing of like they didn't want to have to pay another actor, or they wanted, it was because Yondu was already dead, so it's like having him show up in person is a bit weird. Or I also think that the way I choose to look at it, it's probably killing multiple birds with one stone, is why it actually is that way. But the way I choose to see it is that it's meant to be reminiscent of like the old sort of like uh I don't know if how prolific these kind of things are globally, but like there used to be like animated little Christmas films, 2D animated Christmas films, and it's got like a storybook vibe to it, you know,
Mm.
which I think is also can be associated with Christmas a lot as well. Um, it's like a story time thing.
Can I tell
Um,
you my theory?
okay.
My theory is that they didn't want to cast a young Peter, like looks wise, and so they just got like a kid to voice him.
Maybe,
That's my theory.
maybe. Yeah, I mean, I guess technically we have had a young Peter in the films before, but obviously he's not young anymore as an actor, so
Yeah, and also like,
you'd have to recast again,
yeah.
which would be weird. So yeah, again, I think it's probably like a composition of lots of different reasons. Um,
Probably, but that's
and
fine.
this was probably just the easiest route in terms of all of those situations. It kept budget down. It helped them solve the casting thing. They styled it as like a storybook, retelling of. Remember that one time when
Mhm.
Yondu gave Peter his first thing, and yada yada yada. Um, yeah. So again, I think it worked either way, and that
Yeah,
it
for sure.
added something that was again similar to the stylization of Werewolf by Night, like a little bit more of a unique thing to it that made it feel just even for a portion of this special, a little bit different to everything else that we've seen in the MCU so far.
Okay. Well, I have bad news for you.
Ah,
We now have to rank both Werewolf by Night and the Guardians Holiday Special.
yeah.
Yeah.
Um,
Uh-oh.
so I think my list is up to date, but I don't know.
I keep track,
So
so if it's not, I'll tell you.
um, what? Okay, I'll ask you this: what number would putting the holiday special just below Far From Home end at?
That would place it at number 25.
Okay,
But can I
that's
suggest it going down at least one more slot, because Guardians of the Galaxy Volume 1 is currently 25. I do think that
mm.
I think Volume 1 is better than the holiday special, but that's just my personal opinion.
Yeah. No, you're right. You're right.
Okay, next one down is Thor. Do you want to put it
Yeah,
above or below that?
that's no, that's all right. I think.
Right there? Okay.
Yeah.
Werewolf by Night?
That's going considerably higher, I would say. Um, I think I would put Werewolf by Night. Uh, I'm going to put it just below Moon Knight.
Okay, so number 11.
Yep.
Okay, so that's just below Moon Knight Season 1 and just above Spider-Man No Way Home.
Mm-hmm.
That feel right?
Yep.
Okay. Where do I want to put this? Okay. I'm going to put Werewolf by Night. God, it's so hard when we've seen so much stuff now. Okay, I'm gonna put it at number 9, for me, which is above She-Hulk and below Guardians Volume 2,
Nice.
which is weird because I still think Guardians Volume 1 is better, but that's all the way down there. That feels too low. Maybe I'll put it down lower. I'll have to think. I might honestly, like, once we might have to have like a rearranging of the list because it's kind of hard to. This is the worst. Okay. All right. We'll leave it there. And the Guardians of the Galaxy holiday special. We will put. I'm gonna put it below Iron Man 2 and above Miss Marvel season 1. So it's gonna put it at spot 31 in my list.
Okay.
We'll leave it there. We have now seen 43 things. Today is the 42nd episode, but 43 things total.
Whoa.
All right. Next we have Quantumania. I'm very much looking forward to it.
There's not a hint of sarcasm in your voice.
There wasn't. I was not being sincere, but I sounded sincere.
Yeah, you sounded it. Well done.
And then you told on me.
Well, you might as well be truthful, you know? So
2 hours and 5 minutes. I can't watch this in one sitting. There's no way. There's
that's
no
like
way, you guys.
Not long.
There's no way. There's no way I can sit there for that long. That's crazy.
What
That's
length
actually
are the
crazy.
films you watch?
I don't watch movies.
That's short for a film nowadays.
Oh God.
Closer to 3 hours, the better.
No. All right. Well, that's what we're watching next. I have no idea what's after that. But we are getting close. Did Ant-Man come out? Did this come out 23?
That sounds right. Early 23? Yeah.
Let's see.
I believe so.
Came out.
I hope so. Because otherwise.
February in 2023.
Yeah.
Different dates. 7th, the 6th and the 17th, which is weird.
Yep.
Runtime is way too long, but we'll get there.
Nope.
All right. We'll see you guys in 2 weeks, ? Hey, we've been very consistent. We've technically only missed 1 week, but because it's every other week, it makes it seem like we missed a bunch, you know?
Yes. Yeah.
My bad, guys. My bad. We will see you. Oh, wait, really quick. Hold on. Back up. Thank you so much to our patrons. We really appreciate you. So let me read the list really quick. We have Packer Tom, Fabulous Brianna, Brianna's mom, Brianna's brother, Lindsay, Nikolai at Night, Cypher Primus, Brendan Myers, Marcus O'Neill, Lillian, David Hartright, Dave Harp, the Xbox Expansion Pass, Lee Navarro, Silicana, Ellery Woods Parker III, Chad, and Rick Davis. Sam, where can people find you?
Anywhere and everywhere at Sam Heaney, Heaney.
You can find me at Fabulous Brianna, FABULIST BREANNA, and we shall see you later.